Hello, everyone. This is Michaela, and you're listening to the End All the Things podcast. As a life coach and facilitator, I work with individuals and groups to empower their best selves to shine to the betterment of all involved. My goal is always to bring you closer to trusting the voice inside of you that is authentically yours. My job here is no different. In my journey through life, I continue to meet people who use their authenticity, their gifts, to grow, change, and serve through professional and personal endeavors. These people and their stories become my gift to you, for I cannot keep a good thing to myself, and I believe that they may inspire a part of your story to evolve. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of And All the Things. Today, I get to share a conversation with a fabulous and fearless woman that I have known for about a year now. She and I met through the women's empowerment organization BIG that I work with, and we instantly connected over a great number of things. One of those things is an experience with martial arts. In this conversation, you will hear about Christina's journey as a young child in South Africa, moving through Greece, and settling in the United States, where she continued to pursue her passion both nationally and internationally. You will hear about the many ranks that she holds, the accolades that she has earned through her experience in martial arts. And for those of you who may not know yet, I also have a background in martial arts. Not nearly as extensive, but equally significant in the things that we learned in unique and powerful ways. So listen into this journey of Christina and her love of martial arts while blending that with her career in wealth management, as well as facing down and moving through a diagnosis with breast cancer. Together, we talk about life lessons on preparation, wellness, and overall living a fabulous and fearless life. All right, please enjoy Christina Ioannidis and All the Things. All right, friends, I am very excited today. I have a beautiful, special, and fearlessly amazing guest for you today. Her name is Christina Ioannidis. Did I say that right?
You did.
Yes, I've been practicing. I've been working on it since we met last May through BIG, Believe, Inspire, Grow at our retreat. And when I met you, Christina, I was instantly smitten. One is we have, now mind you, yours is a bit bigger than mine, but we both have an experience in martial arts. We both have businesses that we're moving forward to empower and propel fabulous human beings, especially women out there. But we also have a synergy. You and I just vibe. And for that reason alone, we could sit here and talk all day. But for our listeners today, Christina, tell us a little bit about who are you today in the world that you live in?
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. I love to ask it because it makes us stop and say, well, who am I? Who am I with all these beautiful things going on? Tell us about you.
All right. I am a Greek Cypriot, born and raised in South Africa. I currently work in corporate and wealth management, but my love and passion is martial arts, which I started, as you know, in South Africa at 9 years old. That is something that is near and dear to my heart. 37 years later, here I am training in America in the same karate style, Kimura Shibukai International, and have since created a business from it, empowering women through my self-defense empowerment programs. So, just moving that forward, growing that. And while I work full time, it's just something I love and passionate about. I just want to keep growing it and empowering more women as we move forward.
I love it. And so you work in corporate, you work in wealth management, you've got this, moving forward trajectory in a career path. And yet the thing that you started, I think you were 9 years old, this martial arts piece, right? How do you go from corporate wealth management to starting your own brand, your own business through this self-defense piece? How do you manage that? Because first off, why do you do it? And second, I'd love to know how you balance that, because it's a huge commitment.
Why do I do it? Because I love it. I'm passionate about it. And it really it fills my cup.
Mm-hmm.
Just every presentation I do, every workshop I do, every class I do, the reviews I get when the women leave and just the feedback I get, just knowing that they've like leaving stronger with tips and tools for me is like just both humbling and very honoring. And, as I said, very fulfilling. So
Mm-hmm.
I've now finally taken my love and passion that was, let's say, once just a hobby and formed a business out of it.
Mm-hmm.
How did I get into it? For many years, I taught just kind of on the side and just as a side gig, and I trained obviously. And then during COVID, I officially started teaching over Zoom. Um, Fast forward, I leveled up my health, gone to this crazy push-up challenge, and then, unfortunately got diagnosed with breast cancer, which in hindsight was the best thing ever
Mm,
by far.
that's incredible.
It just really gave me the courage and the confidence to be like, if I can get through this, I can really do anything I want. And so from there, I decided that I actually want to form a business from it, not just, yes, it's a side business now, but not just a side gig, like
Mm-hmm.
it's a formally structured business. I go out and network. I, speak about it and tell people that I trying to grow it, get more into speaking, get more into presenting. And so how do I balance it? I don't know, like I know, 9 to 5, I'm in corporate, like I know that's my time there. And so between the weekends and the evenings is when I do the things that I need to in terms
Mm-hmm.
of my side business. I try to make a point of it's not always perfectly balanced, which is fine. Just giving myself some like self-care, some fun
Mm-hmm.
time, and then just getting to my business. It ebbs and flows. Sometimes when I know I'm just, drained, it's like, okay, it's just got to take a break. And then other times that I'm just full force. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I guess, the luxury that I do have is that because I do have a full-time job, that it's not this like pressure that it has to grow at 100 miles an hour. It's just growing at
Mm-hmm.
my pace, a pace that works for me. And a pace is, I want to grow it as fast as I want. So I kind of get the best of both worlds out of it.
Yep. Well, that's a life by design right there. And I'd like to kind of dig into that a little bit because so often we think it's one or the other. I can't have my cake and eat it too. I can't have the best of both worlds. And where I know that in another reality, all you will do is fabulous and fearless, and all you will do is self-defense and mindset coaching. But in this world today, you're balancing the two, your feet on the ground, 9 to 5, and pursuing the passion. And I think what's really important for people to hear in this is that it's not boo hoo wah wah, I still have to work this corporate job, or boo hoo wah wah, I've got to spend my nights and weekends. It's I get to do these things.
Absolutely.
Right now, I know that martial arts and empowering women is your passion, but you're also really great at your job. Right. And you can continue doing that as you build the thing. So do you struggle with I should be doing more? Like, do you should on yourself with Fabulous and Fearless? Or are you level-headed in this is my pace, this is how I do it, and I'm gonna just balance it?
So, I think in the beginning, I was like that a lot, that I did a lot of should haves and would haves and wish I was like further down the line and wish I could leave corporate and,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of would have and should haves.
Mm-hmm.
Then, I don't know, I'd say over the last number of months now, I'm just very content, very much at peace. And, things are great both at work. I work with a fantastic team.
Mm-hmm.
So that certainly does help. And then, my brand Fabulous and Fearless just moves at a pace that works for me and my time and my lifestyle. And if I want to sort of rev it up, I can. And if I want to slow it down, I can. It's
Mm-hmm.
really up to me. It's just, as you said, I get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, like it was my choice to create this business and to move it forward. And so does it take away time from my life? Yes and no, but this is a choice I've made and
Mm-hmm.
I'm well aware of that. And I know that I have to balance both. And I'm okay with that. I honestly, I like it. I really
And
do. I know that just sounds so crazy, but I
no.
really, I get the best of both worlds. I have a job that, I like. I do the thing that I like. It's almost like everything I'm doing is both by choice and because I like it. That's why it's like I just find I'm very content.
Well, that's what I was going to hone in on there because it is a choice. And quite frankly, everything we do is a choice. And I can choose to begrudge the choices I've made. I can choose to, you know, feel sorry for myself. Oh, I have so much work to do, or whatever the case may be. But the reality is we all have a choice, right? And you have chosen to step into this incredible world of changing other people's lives while managing your regular career, your regular day, and your mental health. So when I think of martial arts, my dojo, I have just a first degree black, not just, I am a first degree black belt in Okinawa Kempo Karate. And our dojo's mantra was find the right balance. And what I felt when I first read that was, oh my gosh, that means I have to like stand up, in tree pose all day and never fall. But what I learned over time is that maintaining balance is motion, right? It's constantly adjusting to, let's call it the wind, the things coming at us. And when we see what's important, we can move with it, we can adjust with it, and we can keep our stability. And that's what it sounds like you're doing. You're finding the right balance so that you can pursue the the fullness of you. And I just am in awe of that. So let's go. You love martial arts, it's your passion. You were 9 years old. Did you know when you were 9 that this was your thing?
Absolutely. Whenever I tell people the story, and I can tell you, as I tell you now, like I stepped on the mat and I knew that this was home for me.
Mm.
My power source. It was this, the analogy I use is the way you put a light on, you turn the light on. Like the minute I stepped on, I was like, this is home. I dreamt of going to Japan to go train, which I've not yet, but I'll get there
Mhm.
one day. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just never looked back. I stepped on and I was like, this is it. And I trained for 7 years in South Africa, got my black belt there. Then I knew the same style was here in America for a variety of different reasons. And so once we moved here, end of 91, took me a few years. And then I actually found our master in the yellow pages. How long that ago was. There was no
Wow.
internet back then.
Let's just
Found him,
timestamp that with a phone book.
found his number. And I said, I trained with so-and-so in South Africa. And he's like, actually come up. We have a training session this weekend. I come up to Tenafly, New Jersey. It's so funny as I tell the story. Like I remember walking into the dojo and these eyes just staring at me,
Hmm.
and just this uncomfortableness of like, oh my gosh, I don't know anyone here, and why am I here?
Hmm.
Like, it's amazing. Like sometimes the decisions you make and the choices you make. I remember standing there and thinking, I should just go home. This is so embarrassing. Anyway, thank God I stayed. I don't remember anything about that training session. I just remember the eyes on me.
Hmm.
After training, he took me upstairs to the office, introduced me to my current instructor, which was a little closer to me because I was in college at the time.
Hmm.
And then, I don't know, shortly after, I think a year or two or so, I don't remember the exact time frame, I called my instructor. I said, hi, I'm so and so. I met you at the training session. He gave me physical instructions on directions and how to get there. And that was it. That was April of 95. And I've been a fixture ever since.
Wow. And in
So
that time, tell us your accomplishments because they are vast.
just a few.
Just a few.
So I have, I compete locally, but I've also competed internationally. This year, I just completed if I recall, I think it's my 18th international tournament.
Wow.
So from South Africa to Portugal to Estonia, because it's a worldwide organization. So I've
Mhm.
been fortunate to travel a lot.
Mhm.
I've competed there. And out of those international tournaments, I have won 6 of them in fighting. So I'm a 6-time world karate fighting champion, which is, thank
Round of
you.
applause, friends. Round of applause. And like my body is responding because earning my black belt was extraordinary. Like such a physical feat, right? You were talking about push-ups, and I think we logged like 500 push-ups that day or something absurd. And I can't even imagine competing at that level. What do you do to prepare for that level of competition? Right? Is there a ritual? Is it I mean, I know you practice your heart out, but how do you prepare for that? Yes, for the physical aspect, but maybe more for the mental, like, I'm going to walk out on that floor and this is what's going to happen.
So, it's interesting, like when I look back now, obviously, because I have just so many years of like both training and competing. When I first started, obviously, I didn't do as well in the beginning. And then my real turning point was in 2006 when I won my first world tournament in Finland.
Wow.
Uh, what does it take? Just endless amount of hours of training. I remember that year, like I did everything. I trained at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 12 at night. I could work 12-hour days and go to the dojo and train till 2 in the morning. Like it didn't matter. I ate, breathed, and slept karate.
Mm-hmm.
I put my heart and soul into it. I would go to the dojo. I would train in the afternoons. Like so, at one of our dojos, there's um, um, an impact pad, a swinging, and I remember training on it. And my instructor would literally, he would tell me what to do. He would leave because he's an attorney that works right in the front there. He would call and he would say to me, relax and put the phone down. That was it.
Hmm.
There was nothing more to it. It's just like, you just need to relax.
You've
And
done the work, now settle in. But how do you even draw that line, right? When you're so conditioned to just go, go, go.
so, I just trained and I trained and I trained. I mean, I didn't even know how many hours that year.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 25 hours a week. Whoever knows, for months. I was just so dedicated to it. And, I landed up winning that year for the first time, which obviously was just such a great accomplishment for me. And I can truly say from that time on, that like filled my well,
Mm-hmm.
that whenever I competed for the following ones, like I didn't have to fill the well as much as everyone else because I had like filled it so much that it was almost like at another level at that point. Um, and then I just continued. 2008, I didn't do well. 2010, I didn't compete. And then after that, I had a winning streak, like 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, I came first. 18, I came, 18 and 19, I came second.
Oh.
But it's, when you put that time in and that dedication, you put your heart and soul into it. Look, you've got to train hours on end. Your body hurts. Mentally you can like break down. And you just keep going, and the hard work eventually just pays off. The thing is though, you have to be very diligent with your training. You can't just train to train. You've got to be diligent about it, very disciplined, very precise about it.
Lots of strategy.
And when you show up to train, like you have to train. Like there's some people who say, I'll put in all these hours, but if you don't go there and like train with precision and intention, it just doesn't work. You kind of then hope to win. No, I learned is like, I was so focused when I trained, so focused, like the world could burn down and I was like, I'm training. I know that's so harsh, but like and that just led to my success, fortunately. Like it just, every year became easier and easier for me. The more I did it, the easier. It's like my instructor would say things and we would train as a team and it's like, I got it. Like I got it quicker. I understood it quicker. But that's because in 2006, I had put in
You
all those
filled the
hours.
well.
Absolutely. And I think that applies to anything.
Absolutely, right? I love how you said fill the well, right? Most people are like, oh, I filled my cup, but you're like, forget it. I don't need a cup. I needed a well. And what I love about that image is that a well can be replenished, right? It can nourish itself when it's in the right conditions. And I guess I'm wondering, so you fill the well in '06 and then you taper off a little bit 8, 10. What do you think happened in those years that shifted the success, right? Because you were winning and then you weren't winning and then you were winning again. Was it about the well? Was it about other competition? Was there something else happening in that time?
So I mean, between like, so 10, I didn't go because I was studying at the time. And so
Hmm.
just, there was a conflict.
Got
That's
it. So you just weren't even there to
I
compete.
couldn't, I just couldn't, I actually couldn't go because it was just a conflict.
Mhm.
So that was out. But I think just, I just continued to train, discipline, whether it was a tournament or not. Like I continued to train hard, was disciplined and focused. And I think just as you keep training, you just keep improving. I mean, the one thing I like learned, especially for my tournaments, is that the tournaments are great, but the thing about the tournaments is that because you put in this intense amount and months and hours of training, it allows you to level up your karate. That's the thing about it. Like that's why I do the tournaments, because this umpteen amount of training is what pushes you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you just kind of like, you move along just in stride. But if you really want to take it to the next level, there's got to be these bursts of training. I mean, it's the same thing like with any athlete. They
Mm-hmm.
train for the Olympics or whatever, like these months of training, and then you stop and then you taper down a little, but then you go on again. But that's kind of what pushes you up to the next levels. And I think that's just, what happened with me. It's just I trained, I loved it, putting these umpteen amount of hours of training, got up to the next level, then the next year. It's like you're here, then you move up, and then you move up again. And it just kind of becomes, I don't know if easier, but it just you kind of get it quicker and you like get to where you need to just at a quicker pace. Because you don't have to like build from the beginning. You're already building from
Right.
a structure and a foundation that you have.
Well, and I think that's a great way to lead into one of my next questions, because one of my takeaways from martial arts was not, and people, you might get this too, people would still come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you have a black belt. That means you can kick my ass." And I'm like, "No, that means I can protect mine." And what I found is that all those hours of training in those years and years, while I'm out of practice, my body knows what to do. My
Yep.
body can respond. Someone touches me and I know where my body starts and stops. And damn it, I know how to protect it. Maybe not fully anymore, right? Like maybe I couldn't take on the 7-foot man, but I could do enough to get away, right? So when you think about this passion and love and this dedication that you bring to your training, how do you transition that, and what inspires you now to teach other people? Right? Because I'm all in. I fully believe that we all need to learn how to punch, kick, block. We all need to learn how to run first. Like, let's get the heck out of Dodge if someone's attacking us. But what are you teaching today? And how are you using this love and dedication to inspire and create safety for others?
So, my big thing as to why I do this is because I always say, all the knowledge that I've gained over my years of training, it'd be such a waste to,
Let it stop there.
well, when my time comes and like my life is over, just to take it to the grave with me.
Mhm.
Just what a pity to take that like down under with me and
That's
like never
great.
give it to anyone. I mean, it's just, it's almost sinful. It's sinful to me. It's just it's like I've been fortunate to gain this knowledge and to love it. Like to me, it's important that I spread it to others and help others in whatever capacity it may be. To young girls as a sport. Like I was once that young girl that I looked up to women and I admired. Now, I'm that woman now that like young girls look up to me. I mean, the first time a young girl said that to me, I was so taken back. Like I almost like started to cry. I was like,
Mhm.
wow, like I'm that woman now that I once looked up to a woman. It was like the roles were reversed. So that was very honorable for me. And then again, just being able to help young girls and women empower themselves, like to stand up for themselves in whatever capacity, both from a voice, physical, emotional, it's just very, very important. I mean, as women, we go through so many struggles, and a lot of times we're nervous to stand up to say something where we need to be nice and kind and all these great qualities as women. But there's a time and place for all that kind of stuff. And sometimes being nice and kind is like not the quality that needs to be there. I will always use the adage of it's going to take the back seat in the car. And I think it's important that I teach it, like everything I've learned over the years, and that has helped me. Like all the knowledge that I have, like I want to give it to someone, both in the karate sense, in the self-defense sense, that the day comes when it's like my time to leave, like my head will go down and be like, I did everything I could. I leave very peacefully, knowing that I've done the best I've could and given everything I have. And that to me is like, that's my driving force. That's my why.
That is success, right? Have you positively impacted people's lives? Have you positively elevated yourself to a place where you can, like, that is success. And that's powerful and beautiful and fabulous.
And fearless.
Um, so I think that we could probably have an entire podcast talking about how women are nice and kind, right? And how that doesn't serve us. And I can relate to that because at about the time I was starting my training, in the bar scene, in the social life, and standing next to this guy that I kind of knew, literally took his hand, patted my back, and then stuck his hand down my pants, just straight down to my rear end. And I froze. I knew that it was wrong. I knew he had no right, but my voice, everything got tight, went small, and I played nice. I'm not a small person. I could totally have been like, nah, dude. But I didn't. I was quiet. Shortly thereafter, I had the opportunity to start training, and I was like, yes. And I picture that guy in my head every single time I went into the dojo. And now there's no way. It's nope, you're getting an elbow. You're just going to get a nice little elbow right to wherever I can get because you don't touch me. And I think about my daughter. I think about our girls. I think about our sisters, our neighbors. And I think this is an important topic. And to see, to your point of, having a young woman look to you and say, wow, thank you, you're amazing. We have to do more of that. I believe we are here to each of us identify our divine gift and spread it like wildfire. I think that's where God lives. So I see that in you, and I'm eternally grateful. But what do you think it is? Why do girls today, knowing what we know, why do we stay nice and quiet? What do you think that is?
Truthfully, because I think it's taught. I think it's taught from home. It's just the nature of woman,
Mhm.
where we're just taught that these are the qualities that women should take on: nice, kind, gentle, empathetic. And look, again, as I said, I think they're wonderful qualities. I do. I think that's what makes us wonderful as women and young girls.
Yes.
But to your point, time and place kind of thing, like the incident with you, I read someone was listening to a podcast something one time, and they were talking about sort of your incident. And if it was two guys in a bar, and if a guy did that to another guy, the guy would say, "Hey, dude, get the
Yep.
F off me." They wouldn't think twice
Yep.
about just pushing the guy right off, and that be the end of that. And yet, as females, we struggle to do exactly what guys do. Just get off me. Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
I know over the years we've made steps and progress in trying to empower women. And I think more and more women are standing up. But yet, with the strides we've taken, there's still a long way to go that women can truly just stand up and say,
No.
same way that the guy said, get off me,
Yeah.
and that be totally okay, and not be like, oh, why are you such a whatever, It's just, you're not allowed. That's it. And we should have the right to stand up for ourselves when it comes to things like that. And
Totally.
we get nervous, we play small, we play nice. Sometimes we think, oh my gosh, we don't want to hurt their feelings. Their feelings? Did they ever think about, I don't know, I'll take your example. Did the guy think about your feelings when he did what he did? He
Nope.
didn't care. He was
Nope.
out for himself.
Nope. Cared nothing about it.
No? So yeah, no, I absolutely think it's just important that we, while we get taught these great qualities, I think it's also important to say, there's a time and place for it. And like when you need to stand up, you need to
Mhm.
stand up for yourself. Look, I know culture, like I was taught to be nice all the time, like nice and people pleasing and all that. And now as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, that doesn't work all the time. And it's not a one size fits all.
Yep.
It's a time and place appropriate.
You're absolutely right. The conditions matter, and I can say I think I'm still as nice as I was before, but now I have a different confidence. And I see, to your point, like that guy, if I had elbowed him off, could have been like, you, all the names, right? Calling me all the things that strong women get called. And what I know now is that it's not me being mean to him by elbowing him off of me. I don't have to call him names. I don't have to engage in a fight, right? Refrain from violent behavior. It's one of our dojo kun. And I don't have to fight him, but I could still say no and be like, peace out, dude. Right. I don't have to be mean about it, but I can be assertive. I can be forceful without being a bitch. And if I want to be a bitch, so be it. He's touching my rear end. I get to do what I want there.
If you think about it, like that's your boundary.
Yeah.
You didn't, it's one thing if you gave him the right and invited him to do that, then that's different. Now, that's a whole different ball game. But if
Yeah.
he just does it like because he thinks he's entitled to, that's overstepping a boundary. And however that comes out for you, whether it's nice or not nice, in my personal opinion, it's like you kind of ask for it. Like
Yes,
you
I
asked to
agree.
do that. You didn't ask to do that, so you weren't nice about it. So why should I be
Why
nice
should I
about
be
it?
nice?
It's it becomes a little bit. You kind of have to question then, like why do you have to be nice about it when
Hmm.
you invaded me?
Yep. And
So
and I think you hit the nail on the head with the word boundaries. The boundaries topic, I would say I really started to learn my own boundaries through martial arts. Very much in the physical, right? This is my boundary. If you come in, I get to protect myself, but also in the mental, not only in that I can push my own belief about my boundaries of what I'm capable of, but learning my self-worth, right? I am the asset when I'm participating in martial arts, right? And I am here to protect me so I can protect all my, my things, my beliefs, my people, etc. But I really learned that it's okay to have boundaries. And it's okay to say, here's my boundary. Put your hand up, here's my boundary. Oh, you want to cross my boundary? Oh, that's cool. Let's do it. Right? You get your fists up and you go. But that is translated into so many other parts of my life. Do you see that as well? That what you learn on the mat, that physical part, that emotional part helps inform how you live every day. Obviously the safety piece, but the emotional boundaries, would you say?
so it's interesting for me. My story is a little different. I
Oh
wouldn't
yeah,
say,
you started so young.
I wouldn't say that I learned boundaries from karate, unfortunately, because I both started young and just culture, like, as I said, just being Greek Cypriot, it's, culturally, there's not a thing called boundaries. Like everyone's in your space, everyone has an opinion, everyone has to say a million things. And so I thought that was normal. I did. I mean, I didn't learn boundaries till I was like in my 40s.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just thought it was like, but the thing with me, I just used to get like angry and frustrated because I couldn't understand, like, why can't I just say no? Like I almost thought saying no was
Hmm.
wrong. Like you had to be nice and you had to people please.
Truth.
Until, to cut a long story short, I joined this women's group and I finally like learned it's like, boundaries are okay
Mhm.
and you should have them and it's good for your own self-care.
And
Uh,
it's good for other people.
yep.
Boundaries, I mean, when I set a healthy boundary, it tells other people what's okay and what's not okay. It tells them where, what happens if you cross the boundary. And it lets them make an informed decision about what they want to do. Well, Michaela's not playing that way, so let's just, go play in another playground. But learning how to both tie in the physical and then in your 40s bring in the emotional part of boundaries. It's okay to say no, right? In martial arts, we say no with our bodies all the time. But again, our voices go small when we think we're supposed to be nice and kind. How did you then learn those boundaries in your 40s? You're a total badass, right? You're out taking on the world, and yet you're learning boundaries in your 40s. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was a lot of work. I'll put it that
Hmm.
way. It was a lot of work, a lot of frustration, a lot of just emotional frustration, just sort of toying with like, I guess what I had like learned over the years and conditioned
Hmm.
that now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can say no. I don't have to like say no and give an excuse. Like I always felt I had to like validate myself. Whereas no is a full sentence and no is a full answer, you
Anne
know?
Lamott said it.
And
No is a full
I
sentence.
don't want to do that. It's just like, no, I'm not going to be there. That's it. Like, it doesn't matter why. I had to learn a lot, and fortunately, I had a lot of good girlfriends who were very supportive and who, also part of this women's group and who totally helped me.
Hmm.
And, just bit by bit, because it was a huge emotional roller coaster. Because I would go from 0 to 60, just get so frustrated. It's like, I don't want to do this. And yet, like, I didn't know how to communicate that because I thought you just, had to do this.
Hmm.
Uh, and then obviously when I learned otherwise, I was like, I mean, talk about seeing the light. I was like, oh,
Oh,
really? No
this
way.
is easy. Hit the
And now
staples button.
now I'm like on the other side. It's like, nope, I'm just not doing it. And I'm just totally okay with it. And honestly, I'm almost like to the point, not that I want to hurt people's feelings, but like how it lands for you, it doesn't really matter to me. Like I have a full plate. It's just if
Mhm.
it doesn't work for me because I know how I'm feeling, it's just not working for me. I used to run around everywhere, and I didn't mind because I was also like younger, and it's like, okay, this is
Yeah.
between trying to manage it all, it's like, no, I need to take care of myself. And so it's like, no, I'm not just not doing that.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a struggle, and it was a lot of work in a
So
nutshell.
in that journey, and thank you for sharing that, in that journey, one of the things I found is when I really built boundaries, it shook some relationships. It felt like they were being pushed away, but in reality, they were being pulled closer because they were getting more of me authentically, more of my fullness. Did you experience that where family or work or friend relationships shifted because of the boundaries?
Yeah, they did. Some shifted, as you said, like some shifted closer,
Mhm.
because they knew that, okay, this is it, like she is or she isn't. And then some just drifted away. And I always say that relationships sometimes, like, not all relationships are there for forever.
Mhm.
Some are there for just a season, some are there for chapters, whatever that time frame is. And so if that's what it is, if me setting up boundaries is what's going to kill the relationship, then that was it. That was its time frame.
Yep.
Um, and
And
so
so be it. More energy for you to put into the relationships that do serve,
yeah.
you know?
So it's if it's going to last, like as you said, like if people are going to respect your boundaries, that's not the thing that's going to kill the friendship or the relationship. Is the fact that you put up boundaries. Because if I'm tired and I do it anyway, you're kind of going to get the ugly of me,
Yeah.
which is not what anybody wants.
You know, what I've heard and I often say is if you're offended by my boundaries, you're probably one of the reasons I have them, right? Like if you don't like my boundaries, it's probably because you've been part of taking advantage of them, right? And it just to me it kind of level sets it. So when people get upset that I have boundaries, it's like, "Oh, well then I guess I really needed that boundary," you know?
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so when we think about boundaries, and I'm going to kind of circle back again, thinking about our young women. The young women of today, they have a different experience with life. They're being taught a little bit differently just by virtue of the world and YouTube and all the things. What are you seeing with the younger generation of women when it comes to their desire for or experience with self-defense?
So my experience has been, I haven't done as many groups as I have, let's call it middle-aged women, 30s,
Mhm.
40s, 50s, because that seems to be
That's your target.
my target audience. They don't see it as important.
Hmm.
There's a lot of them, I think it's just not going to happen to me. They walk around sort of just not caring. You're typical like young life, carefree, everything's okay. I have a cell phone. That's
Right.
what's going to save me. There's not as many that, at least what I found, as willing to learn. Um, I won't say this across the board. That's just been my
Right.
experience. And some of them uh, a few groups that I taught they're tough. They're a tough crowd. They're difficult because it's like, they're kind of being forced by their parents to want to do this. They're like, oh, I'm untouchable. And so why do I have to do this? Why do I have to sit in this like 1 or 2 hour class to learn what? Um, they can be tough to get through.
Mhm.
And so, I just hope like over time that does change. Because look, I follow the stats. I know what the stats are out there, unfortunately.
What are the stats? Can you share some with us?
When they say, 1 in 3 women get assaulted, that's 1 in 3 women who reports that.
I was going to say it's probably even higher.
Right. So that's based on like reporting. For example, college campuses, they're high, like 20, 30%. And again, that's what's reported.
What's reported?
Young girls are scared. I remember being a young girl being scared. You don't want to say anything.
Yep.
What are people going to think? It's like his word against mine.
I mean, and
People
look at what we do to women who report,
correct.
even with totally damning evidence against the alleged perpetrators. Women are scrutinized and torn apart again and again and again. And I think that's where, when we look at it, and I know you talk a lot about prevention and preparation. Um, how do you walk down the street? How do you carry your bag? I remember during one of your workshops, you said, how do you get people's attention? And it's not scream for help, it's scream fire, 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 because people won't come to help you statistically, but they will respond to a fire.
Well, because they don't want to get burnt either.
Yeah, like It's like,
It's just
it's just crazy town. Um, and with all those statistics, and I'm sure there's a thousand more, I really hope that our listeners today pick up the phone and wherever they are geographically, find themselves some self-defense. We think because we watch The Karate Kid on TV that we know how to throw a punch. And I'm here to tell you, I thought before I started my training, I thought I was strong. I was an athlete. I thought I could handle myself. I mean, I was, a bartender and tough and like I could, whatever. I went into that dojo and I was way wrong. I did not know how to throw a punch. In fact, I cried the first time I kicked my sensei because I was like, I don't want to hurt you, you know? And it was so important for me to, number one, realize that I didn't know how to protect my body. And then two, to feel all the feelings and let it, I mean, I cried. I wept because I didn't want to do it. She almost kicked me out of the dojo. Like, if you're not here to do this,
wow.
she was like, this is what you're here for. Do it. And she could see my fear and she could see my strength. And it was just do it. And once I did, I mean, my God, I was kicking everything in sight. I'm like, oh, can I kick that? Can I kick that?
And you were ready.
I was ready, but it's until I was invited to that space of discomfort, of fear. Why do I have to learn this? Well, someone's going to come and hurt. That's scary. But I had to get over myself. I had to accept that I wasn't as strong and capable as I thought I was. And I do know that our young women today feel like they've got the world at their fingertips. They've got their phone, they can handle things. But we've both heard stories that that's not the case, right? So we've got to continue preaching this and encouraging this and letting our young girls be loud. Oh my gosh, my first Kia, it was like, yeah, yeah, right? It sounded like a tiny little bird. Next thing you know, I mean, I'm not going to do it because the microphone's right here, but it's like, oh, and it feels so good to let it out. And I was 27, right? Think of how many, the hashtag me too. How many of those little stories of men putting their hands down my pants do I have in my life story that I could have totally protected my self-worth differently? So I'm all about it. So young ladies, find yourself a self-defense teacher. If you're in the New York, New Jersey area, I got one for you right here. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit. So what I would love to know is you're 9 years old, you're in love with martial arts, but it sounds like you have to get a real job. How did you get into wealth management?
A real job. I'm like,
My language, not yours, but like the
that's,
job that pays the bills so you can do all the things.
no,
Why
that's
wealth management?
when I finished college, I got a degree in economics. And so I kind of always just want to go that route, sort of some sort of finance, something like that. Anyway, shortly after college, I did a variety of different corporate jobs here and there, nothing that really stuck. Then I was going to take a different career path. Cut a long story short, I worked for Bloomberg for 10 years.
Mhm.
And then I had an opportunity to get into wealth management, wealth management. Because initially I thought I want to get into asset management, like as a financial advisor.
Mhm.
That's kind of the route I was thinking. And so an opportunity presented itself in 2016, 17, with actually a friend of mine who I know through karate who's in wealth management.
Cool.
So, an opportunity presented itself, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to, now's better time than any to jump into it.
Nice.
So I did, and I like it. I, decided I did not want to go the financial advisor route.
Mhm.
But, I like the industry itself. So yeah, here I am. That's kind of how I got into it. And, as you said, it pays the bills, it's a
Mhm.
good job, and it allows me to continue to train and to teach,
Pursue
and
your passion.
absolutely. So
Do
it
you
worked.
see any parallels between your work in wealth management and your work on the mat in karate?
So I'm going to answer that in two ways. From a wealth management perspective, in the same way that you defend your body and take care of it and prepare whatever capacity, the same thing with wealth management.
Mhm.
You have to protect your assets, that's defending. You prepare for your future, your retirement, possibly, your kids, whatever. It's about preparation. And so that's where I see similarities. And one thing I just do want to say about this, especially, being a woman, you see a lot of times where even in today's day and age, even though women are trying to change this, that the woman will leave everything to the man, to the husband to take care of. And then unfortunately, when the husband passes, the woman has no idea. She doesn't know where to start, what accounts, how to log in, what to do. And I think that's just very dangerous.
Mhm.
I highly encourage women to like know what's going on with the finances. Yeah, your spouse can sort of control everything, monitor, but like learn for yourself, like
Yep.
know what's out there, know what your assets are, know how to access them, learn about them. Even if you don't want to learn the intricate details about it, have an idea, because we've unfortunately had clients who've called and we're like, and they're frantic and they're crying, like they're trying to grieve the death of their husband, and now they're like trying to like figure out all these finances. I mean, it's devastating to see.
Mhm.
I know there's a number of women wealth advisors out there that are just that only push for women to prevent things like this,
Mhm.
but I can't emphasize that enough. So when it comes to back to self-defense, in the same way that you protect your assets and you prepare for old age, self-defense is no different. Like you prepare both your body, mentally, physically, spiritually. God forbid anything happens, both physically or emotionally, that you can do something. I mean, that's totally where the parallels are. It's
Mhm.
not about, oh, nothing's going to happen to me. I mean, I've had people say that to me, like, I don't go looking for trouble. You don't have to go looking for trouble. What if someone undermines you? What if, like, out of nowhere, like things happen? And I hear these stories time and time again. Unless you like run on that adrenaline of like looking for trouble, I don't think the average person does. And things happen. Why do you want to leave it by chance? I mean,
Nope.
in the same way that people would prepare to go to a client meeting in whatever field they're in, you prepare to buy a house, you prepare to get married,
Right.
whatever the life event may be, or whatever's going on. Self-defense to me is like no different. Like prepare yourself, be proactive for your life, you know, take the steps beforehand and
Mhm.
learn how to protect yourself in whatever the capacity that looks like. You do that with your assets when it comes to wealth management. Why would you not do that with your life?
Yep. I amen, sister.
So,
Amen. So all this talk about preparation, and you've got a job that you really like, maybe love, but really like, you've got a passion that you really love. And a couple of years ago, here comes one of those things that you maybe weren't prepared for, right? Here comes breast cancer. Tell us about that experience, that journey that you took. And I really want to reflect back to the beginning of the conversation where you said it could have been awful, but it turned out to be the greatest blessing. Tell me about that.
it's interesting. I gave a talk about this just recently. So, obviously so it was during COVID 21, beginning of 21. And, as I said, I took full advantage of COVID working from home. I really leveled up my health. I go into this crazy push-up challenge. So I was, like at the best shape of my life. Like things were just going great. I was
Okay, what was the
teaching.
crazy push-up challenge? You have to elaborate on that since you've mentioned it.
Okay. So the push-up challenge was it was to raise awareness for mental health and depression. And I don't know who started this, but my karate group got involved. And so then you would do 25 push-ups a day, post it to social media, and nominate somebody else. So
Okay.
25 push-ups for 25 days. So I started mine at the end of June. And the first few days, probably weeks, I struggled. Anyway, as time went on, like I just grew to love them. Like I got stronger and fitter. I was like, oh my God, I love these things. And then because I was home, there were times there was at one point I was doing about 200 push-ups a day. Was home. So it's like I start
Make
working. I
some
could do,
arms tired.
oh yeah, I was definitely very, very fit. So, I was home. You could just drop down to 25. I mean, I'm not talking doing them consecutively, just through the course
Just
of the
throughout the
day.
day.
And then I saw one of the guys do Superman push-ups. I don't know if you know what those are, but you're like airborne for a brief moment. And
Mhm.
I saw those. I was like, oh my God, those are so cool. So
There you
I
go.
challenged myself in September to learn how to do them. I struggled, I struggled, I struggled. I was like, 20th day, I was like, why can't I get this right? Anyway, eventually I looked at a YouTube video and I figured out what I was doing wrong. And by the end of September, I did them right.
Nice.
And someone said to me, Halloween's coming up. You should do them. You should dress as a superwoman. So I'll send you the photo one day. I got a Superwoman outfit and
Hmm.
on Halloween did 14 Superman push-ups in the outfit, and I
God.
loved it with the cake and all. I posted and people were like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "I love it."
But I'm happy.
Um, and it was just, I just kept on just pushing myself, like just in the same way that I did with karate, like just push the bar and push the bar. I mean, you see some crazy push-up, videos out there,
Mhm.
and I was like, I want to do that. Um, anyway, so I continued to do them. I continued to do them. Fast forward, 2021, and then I went just for my regular checkups. I did my mammogram. My mammogram was clean. And this is where I always tell women, don't just rely on one set of technology or whichever. My mammogram was clean. I went to my gynecologist after that, which is something I always do. I always do my mammo and then I go to my gyno. And
Mhm.
I know people do it the other way. That's just what I do. So he did my breast exam and he found the lump on my right breast.
Wow.
He said to me, I don't think it's anything, but we do need to have a check. Anyway, fast forward, after a fine needle aspiration and a biopsy, they confirmed that it was cancer. And,
Mm.
obviously when he called, I was just devastated.
Right.
I was like, how did this happen? Like I was fit, I was healthy, I'd gotten healthier, eating, running, push-ups, just like I said, I was in the best shape of my life. So I was just so struck when that happened. And then of course these questions run through your mind, like, what is it? Was it the stress from work? Was it the exercise?
Right.
I was like, was it the push-ups? Was it alcohol? Was it the food? I mean, you ask
Yep.
any question that you can possibly think of, like runs through your mind.
Yep.
So anyway, fast forward, I decide, you know what? Well, this is it. Fortunately, my sister who's also a breast cancer survivor. I had her,
Mhm.
so I leaned a lot on her. So things were a little easier because I had her to confide in and so forth. And then we also just decided because it was COVID that we would take all my treatment down to the Jersey Shore. It just made more sense
Be
logistically.
with
My
her.
family was down
Mhm.
there, the doctors were already down there, and so we kind of moved everything down there. But before that, I had just decided, in the same way that I spoke about preparation for self-defense, I prepared myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. I was on my A game.
What did you
Mentally,
do for that preparation? Obviously, you're physically strong and prepared, but how did you prepare for that?
okay, so January 1st of 2021, I had three non-negotiables.
Okay.
Every day I journaled, every day I prayed, and every day I ran and exercised.
Hmm.
It didn't matter what was going on in the world. As soon as I woke up, those were the three things I did. And I did
Wow.
not stray from that at all.
What
So,
is, or go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just, what is your practice for journaling? Is it just free form? Are you just writing what comes to mind, or is there a structure to
I don't know at that time what I was doing.
it?
It may have just been free form, because I hadn't started working with a life coach just yet. So I think it was just free form. Like I would just write because I was a little bit at a crossroad with like both my career at the time as well and the karate. It's like, what way should I go? I was like, I just under a lot of stress, and I was like, okay, something needs to change. And January 1st, New Year's Day was like, okay, I have to start. And this was not a New Year's resolution I was going to break. Like I was committed to it.
Well, your
Um,
life was kind of depending upon it on some levels, right? Your
well,
ability to, or was this before the cancer
this is before I
diagnosis?
got diagnosed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
So
right. January 21.
it was kind of interesting that I should start this practice, and then I got diagnosed, and I officially found out I had cancer end of March of 21.
Wow.
But I was like, it doesn't matter, the practice continues. Like I was not straying from that. And so I journaled, obviously I journaled like the way I felt once I got diagnosed. Prayed to me, as you know, is like a big part of my life.
Hmm.
I'll put money on that. Like my journey was the way it was because like I give thanks to God and like He completely helped me to get through it.
Do
Uh,
you have a prayer that you use, or is it also like a free form, just pulling
now
from
I,
what the
I just
spirit
say
of
the
the
Our
moment?
Father morning and night. I'll thank God. Just kind of simple, nothing crazy. Just thankful for another
Well,
day.
and I appreciate that because when we think about rituals and routines and we tend to over embellish it, right? Like make it more complicated. And really, it's just about putting pen on paper for 5 minutes in the morning. Really, it's about pausing and saying thank you, right? And lifting up gratitude. And
So
exercise, of course.
yeah, so I journaled, I prayed, I exercised, and then I had made a commitment to myself. Like before I went for surgery, I was going to be in the absolute best shape of my life.
Mhm.
Like, I even ate even healthier than I did before, if that was even possible. I pretty much became, because I also fasted for Easter, so it sort of became like a vegan thing then. Cut out the alcohol, cut out all the meat, cut out
Wow.
all the dairy. And so the day of surgery came, I was ready. As I told people in my talk, and this is it's a fact, like I set my alarm for 5 o'clock and I had no idea when the alarm went off, like why I had set it that early. I was almost like, what did I set it up so early for? And then it took me a minute or two, and I was like, oh my God, surgery today.
Oh, wow.
Same thing that I did all the time. I
Wow.
journaled, I prayed. I did take a little video, but I did, I videoed my whole like sort of journey. And then when my mom took me to the airport, sorry, not to the airport, should I say, to the hospital that morning, I got down one last time right in between the cars and did a set of push-ups.
Oh, gosh, that's incredible.
It's
But
just
I think that's just the keep going, just the push forward, just the goal, the goal, the goal, and managing yourself and honoring yourself through prayer and journal and all the pieces. But I love the dedication that you show. So tell us how you converted this experience into a blessing. How has this turned out for you to be a powerful blessing?
so, as I said, my sister had went through breast cancer. And so, I saw when they wheeled her out. And so I saw what she went through. I was expecting the same thing. Like that's the picture I had in my mind that like, okay, she went through it. Like that's what I'm going to look like and that's what I'm going to experience. And I can tell you my story is completely different.
Mm.
I'm a big believer that the preparation that I did beforehand, both before I got diagnosed, just oddly, as well as like once I got diagnosed, I just continued it on, completely helped me to have the journey I did. My first surgery, I came out pain-free, you know,
Wow.
pain-free. Even the doctor and the nurse said to me, don't take the pain medication because you want to be cool. I was like, honestly, I'm like, I have no pain. Like I just don't. I
Incredible.
didn't. My doctor said to me, he's like, woman, don't come in looking like you, from a physical standpoint. My second surgery, same thing, no pain. I mean, even like, it was so surreal to me. I was like, how is this even possible? And then, as time went on, like, I was like, wow, if I can get through this, which was my most difficult challenge, I can kind of do anything. Not kind
Hmm.
of, I can do
I was
anything.
gonna say, I think
Um,
we take kind of out of here because you're
yeah.
doing it.
Look, I wouldn't say that every day was great. When the realization of the implant, like I just had a right mastectomy, when the realization of the implant as an athlete came in, that beat me down. A few weeks after my initial surgery, it's like, oh my gosh, what has just gone on here? Like my whole body, like I was like, what is this? So no, there wasn't like, not every day was great, but I certainly had a lot more great days than not.
That's incredible.
My third surgery was a little bit more involved, so I did have some pain for a couple of days. Unfortunately, that subsided pretty quickly. But yeah, it's just after that, it completely changed me, like as a person, as a woman. And as I said before, it's just, gosh, if I can get through this, I can honestly do anything I put my mind to.
Hmm.
And so I had the idea of building out Fabulous and Fearless. But once I did that, I was like, I am going full force. Like there is nothing stopping me now. The only thing that could stop me was myself. And so I went ahead and just started to build it out and got the steps in place and the business and the website and whatever's needed, and here we are almost 2 years later, just
Rock
growing
and
and
rolling.
carrying on and honestly loving it. And that's why I say, just sometimes I wonder, if it wasn't for breast cancer, would I have done this, or would have still just been a side gig, just kind of like putzing along, or would I have actually taken the action that I did now to form this full business, go out and grow it and network and tell people what I do.
Yeah,
And that's why I always say it was like the best thing that ever happened to me.
incredible.
You know, I, I do want to say this, like, people's struggles should absolutely be their strengths. And that was mine. Absolutely.
Because the struggles are here. So why not shift them, right? Shift the balance into something that doesn't hurt so bad. right? And really to kind of circle all this up, it's the choice. You chose, even before your diagnosis, to devote yourself to your well-being, the journaling, the praying, the exercise, and all the competitions and all that stuff. But you made that choice. And from that choice, it gave you more choices. Your body, your mind, your spirit, everything was open to show up and I don't know anyone that has surgery and leaves without pain. But it all comes down to the choice, right? And we make choices every single day about all manner of things, what we eat, what we listen to, who we spend our time with. And when we know that we have the self-worth, when we know that we have the skills to move ourselves forward, it makes those choices a little bit easier, don't you think?
Absolutely. I also think, my years of training, it probably just, as I say, it saved my life because like, yeah, I had trained all those years for competition, whatever. Now I just knew it's like, okay, now I really have to fight for my life.
Yeah.
And so I just took what I'd learned from the mat all those years of preparation. It's like, now I really put it into practice. Now it's not a competition.
Yeah.
Now it's not in the mat where it's, a sort of a closed container and it's protected. It's all out there now. And so I just, used what I knew. But it doesn't mean that you have to do martial arts to do that. I think the point of it is just the whole preparation. I think that's what really helped me to have the journey that I did. It's the preparation. And no, it didn't have to be to the extreme that I took it, because I know, different people have time constraints.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing something, whatever that one thing is. Like I also land up having friends help me clean out my closets. My apartment was spotless. I met another breast cancer survivor who reached out to me and I spoke to her and I said to her, if there's one thing you can do, I said, clean out your closets. And she sent me a picture a few days later. She's like, my daughter and I like clean up my closet. She's like, I feel so great. Even if it's just the one thing.
Why that thing? Why that suggestion?
Because, I think it's just, even if it's one thing that you do, it gives you that sense of like, I've done something, like I've prepared in whatever capacity. It's like that
Like
cleansing.
making your bed, right?
Whatever it is that you can do, again, I was fortunate that I had the time to do all these things. But if you don't have the time, that doesn't mean, oh, well, I can't do everything that Christina did. So I might as well just throw my hands up in the air. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe it's cleaning your bathroom. Maybe it's cleaning your closet. Maybe it's just to your point, just
Maybe it's
making
taking a nap.
going for a 5-minute walk every day, whatever it is that
Yeah.
you can handle and can manage, do it. That's
Yeah.
like your form of preparation. That's your form of like self-care before, like you're doing something good for yourself before you're going into this, like this scary part of your life.
Yeah.
And that to me is like the preparation. Whatever your preparation looks like, I think works. It doesn't have to look like mine.
Mhm.
But just doing something to me, I think is important. Again, the preparation comes in any capacity.
Yeah.
Even my bosses say at work, like, prepare and anticipate what will happen. It's like he always says, like, I anticipate of what the clients are going to ask me. It's the
Right.
same thing, like anticipate what it's going to be. I anticipated that my surgery was going to be painful. And so I prepared for that.
Right. And you
Um,
lessen the degree of the impact.
correct. Why not give yourself that fighting chance? So that's
Absolutely. Give yourself that fighting chance. So I usually ask the billboard question. It's a Tim Ferriss question, and maybe you've already said what you would put, but assuming that your brand and your interests are properly marketed, and you could have a billboard that would reach millions of people. And note to self, you can change your mind tomorrow. It could be something different. But today, what would you say to the world if you had a billboard?
know your worth and stand up for yourself.
Yes, yes. Know your worth, because that's really what it comes down to, right? When we think about success and your I just want to fulfill this every day and I don't want to die with all this training in my head. I want it out in the world. I think when you begin to see that what you have inside is so worthy, it helps you stand up taller, right? And
Absolutely.
what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Who knows? But stand up, right? Hold a position, knowing that you have what it takes to move forward and knowing that it's special and precious. And I love that. Know your worth. And I love it. So, my last question is this because I love Greek food. Okay. What is, first off, is American Greek food? Would you say?
Um, yes, I
Okay.
would absolutely. They try to keep it as authentic as possible. I would say that, yes. I mean, there's a couple of like, you may go to a diner that like they put a couple of tweaks on.
Sure.
But I would say overall it's kept pretty authentic, yes.
Okay. So, what food do you miss from Greece that you have a hard time finding here?
That's a good question. What I miss from Greece? Shucks. Wow, I really need to think about it. I don't know. I feel like I can like find everything here.
That's awesome.
I don't know that I miss anything.
That's good.
Yeah,
That you
I
have
know.
everything you need.
I'm like just trying to think like I mean maybe just sometimes the convenience of like certain foods
Hmm.
just because it's in Greece it could be just anywhere like around the
On the
corner that it's
corner.
there. I would say more like the convenience of things than the food itself because I mean fortunate living where I do close to New York and in this
Yeah.
metropolitan area everything is here.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of rivers across from me. There's Greek restaurants like down the street from me.
Hmm.
It's all here, and a lot of them are, very authentic.
Right.
That and my mom's an amazing Greek cook,
Mm.
amazing Greek cook. So I don't know that I'm missing.
So you're gonna have me over for dinner one day, right?
Come on over. I love to cook. Come on over. Doors open.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So the last question I have is, all this drive that you have, what are you driving forward to now? What's on your agenda? What's coming up next for Christina?
So I'm going to answer this in two ways again.
Mhm.
So, when I first started, I was, I guess, on a mission that I want to grow this and I just want to get out of corporate as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it. Now I'm at a place where what I really want to do is, if I can, God willing, I want to be able to balance both.
Mm.
I want to be able to be in corporate. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Mhm.
And I want to be able to do this. And if I can have the best of both worlds and balanced well, that to me is an ultimate win. An ultimate
Well, you have demonstrated that you can manage balancing a lot of things and come out with gold stars and trophies on the other side. So I have no doubt you'll figure this out. And as you do, I really hope that our audience today will follow along. I love watching your live videos. It's a friendly reminder of practices and skills that my body responds to. I love getting involved with this. And overall, you're more than a corporate wealth manager. You're more than a martial artist. You are a dedicated and devoted, beautiful human being who's full of, gosh, so much, Christina. The way that you carry yourself, what I love about you when we have conversations that aren't on Zoom, you ask questions and you really listen to the answers. You really pay attention. You really want to understand. And I think all of that just prepares you to be the kind of person that's going to leave it all on the table, leave it all out for the whole world so that when your time comes, which is going to be in a very long time
100
from
plus,
now.
100 plus. That's the goal.
Hey, I'm all about it. I know that you will have left your mark, and it is a beautiful mark, and I am grateful for the work that you do for women, for people, and for the future. We need more human beings who know their self-worth because they will be less inclined to try to take other people's, right? So for that alone, I say, friends, please follow along. Christina, tell us your Instagram handle or the best places to find you, because I want everyone to live a fabulous and fearless life. And I love this guest because she really has
Hey
chosen to
there,
use her
amazing
gifts to help
listeners
grow,
of And All
change,
the
and serve.
Things.
And that is what this
Thank you for
podcast is all
being on
about.
this journey with me.
So tell us how to
The
find
fact
you,
that you're still
Christina, as we
here,
wrap up
I have
today.
to assume this
So
podcast
on
has
Insta,
sparked your
my Insta handle
curiosity,
is
encouraging you to
fabulous.fearless.
think of life
My
beyond your
Facebook
current
business
boundaries.
is Fabulous and
Now it's time to
Fearless.
take that
You can find me on
energy and
LinkedIn
channel
under
it
my
into a
first and last name,
transformative journey where boundless joy
Christina.Ioannidis.
awaits.
And then my website
Introducing
itself
the Course for
is
Joy, brought to you by Joy Enterprises
fabulous.fearless.com.
and
I love
me,
it.
Michaela, your
Well,
joy
my
coach.
darling, thank you so much for taking the
Life gets
time to
busy.
share
I
your
get
story
it. But
and all these
self-care
tips and
matters
tricks
and
and
should not take a
insights,
back seat.
so that we can
That
all
is
live a
why
little
we've
stronger
crafted a
and more fabulous
4-week
and fearless.
self-guided adventure
And to everyone else, I hope
seamlessly
wherever
fit
you are
into
and
your
wherever you're off
routine.
to, you make it a
In
great
just
day.
15 minutes, a few times each week, our enlightening video lessons and engaging workbooks will guide you through self-discovery and bring you closer to growth. As a special bonus, when you enroll in the Course for Joy, you'll receive an exclusive 50-minute live coaching session. We'll celebrate your progress and create a roadmap for your journey ahead. Are you ready to paint your life with vibrant joy and purpose? Visit myjoycoach.com/course to learn more about the transformative Course for Joy. Let's amplify your joy and ignite your purpose together. Stay tuned for more inspiration and insights right here on And All the Things. And that's a wrap on another episode of And All the Things. If you enjoyed today's show, please like and follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. If you really liked it, please go ahead and rate it. Then think about who in your life might also need to hear it and any of the other episodes we have shared. Then share it with them. When you find something meaningful, something valuable, you've got to share it and pay it forward to those you care for. Thanks for joining us, and follow along on Instagram at myjoycoach to see more of me, your host, Michaela Birdyshaw. And as always, make it a great day.